John Cola with GrowingYourGreens.com here in my standard residential neighborhood. Here's my neighbor's yard with the grass and some other landscaping in there. But today's show is an interesting show, and what it's going to be on is survival and growing food for survival and why we should grow food for survival, and just some other tips. I've saw a lot of other videos on YouTube about growing food for survival, and some of the things it makes me kind of wonder. So I'm going to share my tips and tricks with you. So this is my neighbor's yard, and you can see other neighbors, they just all have grass. Now, if you're growing grass, that's not going to help you out in a survival situation. Well, you could eat the grass, but it's not going to be very nutrient rich, and it's going to get old eating grass every day. So you can see my standard front yard has been converted to all raised bed edible garden. Everything that I'm growing here is all edible, including the flowers, the bok choy, arugula, chickweed, kale, collards. I have some snap peas and snow peas and tree kale. So many other things here in my yard. So why don't you come on in and I'll talk to you more about it. So the first thing I want to talk about when planting a survival garden or survivalist garden or just a garden in your front yard is, you want to start now. You want to start today. Actually, you want to start yesterday, because you know what? By the time you plant the seeds, grow the food, it's going to take a while for it to produce. And you're going to have food. So that's number one. It takes some time. So like, say there's a incident where you need to have food all of a sudden, you can't just, I got some seeds I could throw out and plant. Well, guess what? Depending on the seed, if it's radishes, it might be 30 days. On some leafy greens, could be longer. And tomatoes is at least 60 to 70 days out before you'll have any food you could eat, and that's a long time. So you want to start now. You want to just start and getting your hands into the dirt and growing things and trying it out and becoming familiar with it. Just like shooting a gun, right? The first time you picked up a gun, you probably missed the target. I know I did. But with practice and you're shooting that gun, you're going to hit that bullseye every time. Same thing with gardening. Some unique and new skills you're going to have to learn to garden to be successful at gardening. And my thumbs weren't always green. So it's taken me time and a lot of trial and error. So just like when you're shooting the gun, you're going to miss the target. I'm to the right. I'm to the left. Let's move over this way. And let's aim right for the center. You'll finally get it, and you'll finally know how to do it. And it'll be a skill that you will have that you'll be able to use when you finally need it. And you'll have all the food growing because you will already have a jump on everybody else, because you'll have everything growing that you're going to need. So growing where you live or around where you live on your land or property is very important, because if you run out of power or oil or whatever and you can't get to the gas station or get to the store, what are you going to eat? So it's really important to have food where you live right now and start growing it today. Yesterday actually is a better day to start growing it, but grow it today so that you will be aware and know how to grow these things when things happen, if they do, and you'll be prepared, unlike other people that may have rations in cans and MREs and other things. What happens when they run out? They're not going to be sustainable because they're not going to maybe have the education and have tried themselves to grow things. So it's going to be a definite learning process to grow things, and you're going to find some things will grow better in your area than other things. And you know what? Just focus on the things that grow well and that do good. And if something doesn't grow too well for you, hey, no big deal. Maybe that doesn't really grow too well here, and don't even bother, because you could spend a lot of effort and time into growing things that you really want but that don't grow well, when you could just grow things that grow really well. So a lot of videos show growing zucchini or tomatoes or cucumbers or other summer crops, but you know what? You can't grow summer crops all year long, so that could be an issue. So I'm here in California. I could grow 365 days a year. I have things growing here in my garden. So you may not be so lucky, but you know what? You still can grow things in the wintertime, depending on your climate, in a greenhouse or even inside. So you could still have your hands wet and getting them dirty and growing your food year round. So it's really important, not to focus on the summer vegetables, because we need to live every day of the year, not just in the summer when you can produce big zucchini. So in the summer, then maybe you want to grow things that you could preserve. So some things like winter squashes, butternut squash, banana squashes, actually they get so huge, and other squashes that'll actually just stay good over the winter. So you want to grow for the summer and then grow for some winter stuff. So the squashes, the winter squashes, and even root vegetables. So we could talk about farming by calories. So for all the basically inputs you put in the soil and effort, the root crops, potatoes, Jerusalem artichokes, yacon, and other root crops are going to give you the highest calorie yield or highest caloric density per space. So if you want to grow for calories and you want to know you're going to have enough calories, definitely plant some root vegetables. But on the same token, root vegetables, while they have a lot of calories, I mean, they have some nutrition in there, but they're not very nutritious. So I recommend everybody to start growing their own greens. And that's the name of my YouTube show, Growing Your Greens, because greens are very nutritious. I have some greens planted here, but I could go over to another bed, which I'll go to in a second. We'll talk more about greens. So I'm standing next to my bed, and this is a 4-foot by 15-foot bed of just greens. We have kale, collards, broccoli, cauliflower, and even the broccoli and cauliflower greens, they're edible too, just like other greens. So, greens and plant matter sustain a lot of animals on Earth. I mean, think about a cow. Cow weighs 1,000 pounds. All it eats is grass. Or, elephants. They're so big and they're very strong. Or other mammals. Many mammals also eat greens for their nutrition and for their strength. And that's all they eat, literally. So you know what? We could get by on eating all greens in our diet without much else. You'd have to eat a lot of them, and that could get tough to do because, if you look at a cow, what's it doing? All day it's either eating or pooping. But anyway, so grow some greens, really important. And as I said, you want to get your feet wet now, just have some greens growing year round, in a sunny spot, inside your home, outside your home, in a greenhouse, and be prepared. And so greens are one of the most nutritious foods on the planet, especially I'm looking at this red Russian kale. Kale specifically are probably, one of the highest nutrition dense foods on the whole planet. Maybe the highest, in my opinion, on a good edible food would be something called Egyptian spinach or malahia, and it's from Egypt actually, and that's actually has more nutrition than actually kale. So one of the things you could do is, in the summertime you could grow all your kales. I'm lucky I could grow kales year round here, but in the summertime you grow your kales, and if you live where snows in the wintertime. So you want to harvest your kales in the summer when they're growing before it gets too cold for them. And then what you're going to do is you could basically dehydrate them. So you're going to dehydrate them, take out the water, and that's going to preserve the kale and the nutrition in your kale for you. And you could eat, basically kale sprinkles, or you could powder it up into a powder and mix it in with water or juice or whatever you want to mix it into. And that's going to be super nutritious because it has all the nutrition of the kale that you grew at your place on your land. All right, to expand your growing season, I highly recommend buying a greenhouse. This greenhouse was purchased at Harbor Freight Tool, approximately around $500 or $600, 10 by 12. You can get a lot in here. It's going to extend your growing season. I'm growing actually a lot of things in here because it still hasn't passed the last frost date yet. I'm having a lot of things in here, and I'm going to plant these out here within the next 2 weeks and have a jump on the season. And the other thing I want to talk about is yields, So if you think you could feed your family with like one tomato plant, you know what? You are kidding yourself. You're going to need lots of plants, so you need to dedicate some good space to grow, a lot of plants. I have over 100 basically kale plants in that front bed. I planted 95 strawberry plants in a 4 by 15 foot section. So you don't really need that much space. If you have acreage, great. You could space things out a lot further and have dedicated land for things like what's called perennial vegetables. And the perennial vegetables, you plant them once and they keep coming back year after year after year, and you never have to replant them. And that's one of the things, we want to make gardening and growing our own food easy for everybody. So I have tree kales, and they grow as a tree, and you just plant it once and they keep giving leaves 365 days a year, and I never have to replant them. Most plants will actually grow up, they'll put leaves off, and that's good for eating, but then they'll go to flower and seed, and they'll make seeds, and at that point the plant is non-productive for food use. But what would happen is if you start off everything and plant it and let it go to flower and seed, it'll actually drop the seeds on the ground, and then hopefully they'll come up next year. So once you started getting some of these systems in place and they drop seeds, they're going to start coming back. Actually, they'll come back with a vengeance. So that's a good thing, because I want everybody to get into like what's called hands-off gardening. And I'm working on that. I'm not quite there yet, but theoretically it can be done where you just grow everything and you get things that are climatized to your climate. They're going to do well in your climate. You could grow it once, it'll drop seeds, you just water it, and nature does the rest. They come up. I have tomatoes that we just let go, and they dropped in the ground, and now tomatoes are sprouting up, and I didn't even plant them. And I had a patch back here where I grew tomatoes, and some dropped on the ground, and the next spring they sprouted up, and I didn't have to do nothing. And that's how it should be. We want to be working with nature, not against it. So I hope you've learned more about some of my, ideas and techniques for growing for survival. We have up in the front, we have some pansies, and all this stuff is edible. So the pansy, the flowers are edible, and there's many flowers that are edible, and you can do an internet search to find what flowers are edible and grow some flowers, for their edibility and eating. Next, we have some bok choy here, doing really well. Love bok choy, it's really great. Next, we have broccoli, and I let some of the broccoli go too far. You can see the flowers or the florets here. But also what many people don't know is that you can eat the leaves of the broccoli. It's just like a kale or a collards. So be sure to check my other videos if you're interested in growing at your home and just, maximizing the space efficiency of your place. And for more tips and tricks on to how to grow your own food, I have many other videos, over 100 videos now, on how to grow your own food here on YouTube. So this is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com, and start growing those greens yesterday.